December 7th special board meeting to order. We are convened as of 5:30 p.m. Mountain Daylight Time. I would respectfully ask everyone to remain muted unless you are recognized to speak. Thank you all for joining us this evening. Please note that the official meetings of the RTD Board of Directors are being held remotely in the interest of public health, safety, and welfare. The official meetings of the Board of Directors will be held via Zoom and will be audio and video recorded. The meeting recordings, along with the unofficial minutes of the meetings, will be posted as soon as practicable on the board's website. Please visit rtd-denver.com, and a live stream of this meeting is also available via RTD's YouTube page. Under our civility statement, I would just like to read, colleagues, being elected as a member of this body imposes an ethical obligation for each of us to enhance and maintain the public confidence in this agency. As a board of directors, it is our collective duty to our constituents, stakeholders, and staff to conduct our business in an atmosphere of mutual respect, cooperation, civility, trust, and collegiality. These are the values we can agree upon. As such, I encourage each of us to review the operating guidelines adopted by the board and to act in accordance with those principles, which are available on the Board of Directors page on the RTD website. Thank you. Please note that we will not be taking public comment during this meeting. Ms. McManus, if you would please call the roll.
Thank you. Director Bouquet.
Present.
Director Broom.
Present.
Director Busick.
Here.
Director Catlin.
Here.
Director Cook.
Here.
Director Davidson.
Here.
Director Deschel.
Here.
Director Geisinger.
Here.
Director Lewis.
Present.
Director Rosenthal.
Present.
Director Sloan.
You're still muted, Marjorie.
Director Sloan.
Here. My space bar is not working to mute me.
Director Tisdale.
Present.
Director Whitmore.
Here.
Director Williams.
Good evening. I am here.
Chair Rivera Malpietti.
Present.
All 15 present and accounted for. Thank you.
Thank you. Welcome, Director Tisdale and Director Lewis. As a reminder, the Transit Security Administration, also known as the TSA, has extended the federal mask requirement for public transportation until March 18th, 2022. The federal mask requirement states that individuals must wear a face covering while waiting for and while riding public transportation, to include airports and aircraft, train stations and trains, bus stops and buses. This evening, we will be in a moment having an executive session pursuant to section 24-6-402 (4) CRS for personnel matters related to the general manager and CEO Deborah A. Johnson's 2021 performance appraisal. So what I'd like to say is, please note that the board will reconvene in open session after the executive session ends. I will now entertain a motion to move into executive session for personnel matters. Okay.
Director Williams.
Do I have a second?
Director Lewis, second.
I have a movement and a second by Director Lewis. Ms. McManus, I know we need to have at least 5 votes. Can we do a roll call for going into executive session?
Absolutely. Director Bouquet.
Yes.
Director Broom.
Yes.
Director Busick.
Yes.
Director Catlin.
Yes.
Director Cook.
Yes.
Director Davidson.
Yes.
Director Deschel.
Yes.
Director Geisinger.
Yes.
Director Rosenthal.
Yes.
Director Sloan.
Yes.
Director Tisdale.
sorry. Yes.
Director Whitmore,
Yes.
and Chair Rivera Malpietti.
Yes.
What am I, chopped liver?
We have, you were,
Well,
you
you
were
were
the
the
first
move-in.
and you were the move-in.
Okay.
All right, so all 15 board members have voted to move into executive session. Let me
Correct.
just note again for the record that immediately upon the conclusion of the executive session, the board will reconvene to address the remaining items on the committee and meeting agenda. Would only the directors present and the GM and CEO Johnson please move into the other meeting instance at this time?
Have you lost or forgotten an item on a bus or train? Call Lost and Found at 303-299-6000, option 4, or fill out a customer form online at rtd-denver.com. If you see something, say something. When
Director
riding a train or bus,
I don't think
report
you're in
any
the right
suspicious
meeting.
activity or packages to RTD's Transit Watch. Call 303-299-2911 or text 303-434-9100. The University of Colorado A-Line and the Skyride bus service offer convenient, affordable options to get to and from Denver International Airport. Regional airport fare is $10.50 from anywhere in the RTD service area. Check schedules online at rtd-denver.com or use the RTD mobile app to plan your trip and purchase tickets. At RTD, your safety is our #1 priority. Remember to keep a safe social distance from other riders at bus stops and train stations, and always wear your mask while waiting for or riding with RTD. As we clean and disinfect our vehicles daily, we ask you to be our partners in safety and mask up. Can't find exact change? Running behind schedule? Download the RTD mobile ticketing app on your mobile device to pay your fare with a debit or credit card and bypass lines and ticket kiosks. Let your phone be your gateway to travel in and around the region. Have you lost or forgotten an item on a bus or train? Call Lost and Found at 303-299-6000, option 4, or fill out a customer form online at rtd-denver.com. If you see something, say something. When riding a train or bus, report any suspicious activity or packages to RTD's Transit Watch. Call 303-299-2911 or text 303-434-9100. The University of Colorado A-Line and the Skyride bus service offer convenient, affordable options to get to and from Denver International Airport. Regional airport fare is $10.50 from anywhere in the RTD service area. Check schedules online at rtd-denver.com or use the RTD mobile app to plan your trip and purchase tickets. At RTD, your safety is our #1 priority. Remember to keep a safe social distance from other riders at bus stops and train stations, and always wear your mask while waiting for or riding with RTD. As we clean and disinfect our vehicles daily, we ask you to be our partners in safety and mask up. Can't find exact change? Running behind schedule? Download the RTD mobile ticketing app on your mobile device to pay your fare with a debit or credit card and bypass lines and ticket kiosks. Let your phone be your gateway to travel in and around the region. Have you lost or forgotten an item on a bus or train? Call Lost and Found at 303-299-6000 option 4 or fill out a customer form online at rtd-denver.com. If you see something, say something. When riding a train or bus, report any suspicious activity or packages to RTD's Transit Watch. Call 303-299-2911 or text 303-434-9100. The University of Colorado A-Line and the Skyride bus service offer convenient, affordable options to get to and from Denver International Airport. Regional airport fare is $10.50 from anywhere in the RTD service area. Check schedules online at rtd-denver.com or use the RTD mobile app to plan your trip and purchase tickets. At RTD, your safety is our #1 priority. Remember to keep a safe social distance from other riders at bus stops and train stations, and always wear your mask while waiting for or riding with RTD. As we clean and disinfect our vehicles daily, we ask you to be our partners in safety and mask up. Can't find exact change? Running behind schedule? Download the RTD mobile ticketing app on your mobile device to pay your fare with a debit or credit card and bypass lines and ticket kiosks. Let your phone be your gateway to travel in and around the region. Have you lost or forgotten an item on a bus or train? Call Lost and Found at 303-299-6000 option 4 or fill out a customer form online at rtd-denver.com. If you see something, say something. When riding a train or bus, report any suspicious activity or packages to RTD's Transit Watch. Call 303-299-2911 or text 303-434-9100. The University of Colorado A-Line and the Skyride bus service offer convenient, affordable options to get to and from Denver International Airport. Regional airport fare is $10.50 from anywhere in the RTD service area. Check schedules online at rtd-denver.com or use the RTD mobile app to plan your trip and purchase tickets. At RTD, your safety is our #1 priority. Remember to keep a safe social distance from other riders at bus stops and train stations, and always wear your mask while waiting for or riding with RTD. As we clean and disinfect our vehicles daily, we ask you to be our partners in safety and mask up. Can't find exact change? Running behind schedule? Download the RTD mobile ticketing app on your mobile device to pay your fare with a debit or credit card and bypass lines and ticket kiosks. Let your phone be your gateway to travel in and around the region. Have you lost or forgotten an item on a bus or train? Call Lost and Found at 303-299-6000 option 4 or fill out a customer form online at rtd-denver.com. If you see something, say something. When riding a train or bus, report any suspicious activity or packages to RTD's Transit Watch. Call 303-299-2911 or text 303-434-9100. The University of Colorado A-Line and the Skyride bus service offer convenient, affordable options to get to and from Denver International Airport. Regional airport fare is $10.50 from anywhere in the RTD service area. Check schedules online at rtd-denver.com or use the RTD mobile app to plan your trip and purchase tickets. At RTD, your safety is our #1 priority. Remember to keep a safe social distance from other riders at bus stops and train stations, and always wear your mask while waiting for or riding with RTD. As we clean and disinfect our vehicles daily, we ask you to be our partners in safety and mask up. Can't find exact change? Running behind schedule? Download the RTD mobile ticketing app on your mobile device to pay your fare with a debit or credit card and bypass lines and ticket kiosks. Let your phone be your gateway to travel in and around the region. Have you lost or forgotten an item on a bus or train? Call Lost and Found at 303-299-6000 option 4 or fill out a customer form online at rtd-denver.com. If you see something, say something. When riding a train or bus, report any suspicious activity or packages to RTD's Transit Watch. Call 303-299-2911 or text 303-434-9100. The University of Colorado A-Line and the Skyride bus service offer convenient, affordable options to get to and from Denver International Airport. Regional airport fare is $10.50 from anywhere in the RTD service area. Check schedules online at rtd-denver.com or use the RTD mobile app to plan your trip and purchase tickets. At RTD, your safety is our #1 priority. Remember to keep a safe social distance from other riders at bus stops and train stations, and always wear your mask while waiting for or riding with RTD. As we clean and disinfect our vehicles daily, we ask you to be our partners in safety and mask up. Can't find exact change? Running behind schedule? Download the RTD mobile ticketing app on your mobile device to pay your fare with a debit or credit card and bypass lines and ticket kiosks. Let your phone be your gateway to travel in and around the region. Have you lost or forgotten an item on a bus or train? Call Lost and Found at 303-299-6000 option 4 or fill out a customer form online at rtd-denver.com. If you see something, say something. When riding a train or bus, report any suspicious activity or packages to RTD's Transit Watch. Call 303-299-2911 or text 303-434-9100. The University of Colorado A-Line and the Skyride bus service offer convenient, affordable options to get to and from Denver International Airport. Regional airport fare is $10.50 from anywhere in the RTD service area. Check schedules online at rtd-denver.com or use the RTD mobile app to plan your trip and purchase tickets. At RTD, your safety is our #1 priority. Remember to keep a safe social distance from other riders at bus stops and train stations, and always wear your mask while waiting for or riding with RTD. As we clean and disinfect our vehicles daily, we ask you to be our partners in safety and mask up. Can't find exact change? Running behind schedule? Download the RTD mobile ticketing app on your mobile device to pay your fare with a debit or credit card and bypass lines and ticket kiosks. Let your phone be your gateway to travel in and around the region. Have you lost or forgotten an item on a bus or train? Call Lost and Found at 303-299-6000 option 4 or fill out a customer form online at rtd-denver.com. If you see something, say something. When riding a train or bus, report any suspicious activity or packages to RTD's Transit Watch. Call 303-299-2911 or text 303-434-9100. The University of Colorado A-Line and the Skyride bus service offer convenient, affordable options to get to and from Denver International Airport. Regional airport fare is $10.50 from anywhere in the RTD service area. Check schedules online at rtd-denver.com or use the RTD mobile app to plan your trip and purchase tickets. At RTD, your safety is our #1 priority. Remember to keep a safe social distance from other riders at bus stops and train stations, and always wear your mask while waiting for or riding with RTD. As we clean and disinfect our vehicles daily, we ask you to be our partners in safety and mask up. Can't find exact change? Running behind.
Okay, I feel like I passed the test.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back and thank you for your patience. It is now 5:52 p.m. and I would like to call back to order the special board meeting of the RTD Board of Directors. This evening, we have 2 recommended actions on the agenda. The first is the approval of the General Manager CEO's 2021 performance appraisal and the 2022 adjusted base salary. Do we have a motion?
So moved.
Second,
I'm sorry, who was the so moved? Was that
Catlin?
Catlin? And second was
Williams.
Williams. All right, I have Director Catlin as the movement, Director Williams is the second. Is there any discussion on this motion? Director Busick.
Thanks, Madam Chair. I would just like to briefly go over the process by which we came to this recommended action before us tonight for members of the public that may be here and listening in. The General Manager Oversight and Performance Committee works to put together evaluation process and bring it to the board. And this year, we did just that. We put together a process by which the general manager will be evaluated based upon her job description, because when she was hired back in 2020, that was what her contract said we would do. Moving forward after this year, there are going to be some different criteria and different metrics, but for the year of 2021, this was the process that we used. The job description, when you break it out, has roughly 31 separate categories upon which the general manager can be evaluated and was evaluated in this performance period. We had a consultant, TransPro Consulting, that helped us put together this this tool that we use to put this evaluation out. All the board members assembled here engaged in the process and ranked Ms. Johnson on all 31 of these separate areas of evaluation. She received excellent reviews, either exceeds expectations or meets expectations in some areas. The board also approved some time ago the possibility that the potential salary increase for this year could be up to 6%. So when we broke down the job description criteria into its 2 main categories, the evaluation criteria and personal attributes, the board decided that 3% salary increase would be possible for each of those sections. When we take those 31 performance categories that were voted upon, and that Ms. Johnson was evaluated upon, Ms. Johnson exceeded expectations in both of those main categories. And so the General Manager Oversight and Performance Committee decided that unanimously that means she is eligible for the full 6% of that increase in salary, because you can't get higher than exceeds expectations. So that's what's coming before you tonight, and briefly the process that we went through to get there. If anybody has any other questions or comments, that's great. Thanks.
Thank you. Second Vice Chair Cook.
Hey, just briefly, first of all, I support the GMOC's recommended evaluation. And in fact, I got Adobe Acrobat back for the first time in months the other day, and took advantage of the conversion capability to do a word cloud for some of the comments on the questions. And you would have recognized them. You'd see big words like leadership and courageous and team and so forth. So it underscored for me the general regard that the board has for the CEO. For me, I also have, for my consideration of it all, I'm wanting to recognize that there may be, for some constituents who are affected by our service cuts, a disconnect between this. And I just wanted to acknowledge that. And to underscore something that Director Busick said, we committed to this framework several months ago. And it's something that is part of the contract we have with our GM CEO, and she has demonstrated that she's met the criteria that we laid out for her. But I do have a little bit of a concern about simultaneously a pretty good increase at the same time that we're cutting services on a permanent basis. Okay, thank you so much for that.
Thank you. Director Rosenthal.
Thank you, Madam Chair. And just to build on and expound a little bit on Director Busick and what he has been saying is, so really supporting the conclusions of, meet or mostly exceed categories that we evaluated General Manager for, and, reiterating how she's been doing an exceedingly good job for the agency, and very pleased with her work, and also sort of reiterating how these requirements or these categories that we rated her on were from the original contract, but my sense is that we'll be continuing some of these towards the future, probably all of them towards the future, and then of course adding new categories. And the public will know, over the next coming months. And I look forward to, receiving input from the public about, maybe some things that they would like to include in that. And then we can certainly bring that up as a board, things that might be important to include in a future evaluation. Things like service and, safety and future developments. So things like our transition to electric buses, autonomous vehicles, and more transit-oriented development, and beautifying some of our stations and making it more transit friendly for bicyclists and pedestrians. These are all things that I know the general manager is already working on to a great extent, but these are things that I know that some of the public, and certainly myself, and perhaps I know we've had some discussions as a board as well to see how we can move forward on some of these as well. But in general, right now, I just have to say good job. Thank you very much, General Manager, for your work, and keep it up. Thank you.
Thank you. Director Deschel.
Thank you, Madam Chair, and certainly appreciate the comments by Director Rosenthal, but just to avoid confusing the public, this board, including the GMOC, have already passed the method for compensation and evaluation for certainly at least next year, and possibly the year after. Always open to changes, always good to hear from public, but I want to avoid confusing folks. And Director Busick or others can correct me if I'm wrong, but we've set that compensation to be objectively measured, and looking forward to seeing how community input comes into play through the various surveys and other metrics that the board passed as part of the strategic plan, and compensating our CEO as a part of that. So certainly all points well taken, but I want to make sure that we're not causing any confusion.
Thank you, sir. Okay, before I call for the vote, I would just like to say, working side by side with the general manager and CEO, she's been here for 12 months, 1 year. And the amount of work that she has been able to participate, execute, has been done with not just success, but with finesse, professionalism, and expertise, and the ability to really negotiate and discuss issues transparently and in a user-friendly component. If you look at our website and you look at our financial plan, for the first time, people understand it. And I have been privileged to sit next to her in meeting after meeting, and she is incredibly articulate and an expert in her field. And I think we are all very, very fortunate to have such a strong leader leading our agency. So thank you, General Manager. Okay, with that, I'd like to call for the vote. Are there any no votes on this action? Seeing none, it passes unanimously.
Oh, Madam Chair, I would,
Oh, I'm sorry, go ahead.
never mind.
Director Rosenthal.
I didn't want to be a no vote. I just thought it would be very confirming for the general manager to hear each of us say aye or yes.
Oh, I will.
To
Okay,
this. I just think that would be very nice and proper for her.
very duly noted. All right, Director Bouquet,
Yes.
Director Broom,
Yes.
Director Busick,
Yes.
Director Catlin,
Yes.
Director Cook,
Yes.
Director Davidson,
Yes.
Director Deschel,
Yes.
Director Geisinger,
Yes.
Director Lewis,
Yes.
Director Rosenthal,
Yes.
Director Sloan,
Yes.
Director Tisdale,
Yes.
Director Whitmore,
Absolutely, yes. Thank you, Director Rosenthal.
Director Williams,
Yes.
and I am a yes. That's unanimous, 15 yeses. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. Our second recommended action is the approval of the amended board bylaws. Do I have a motion?
So moved, Director Williams.
Second, Tisdale.
Is there any discussion? Director Lewis.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I won't take up a lot of time. I just had a clarity question. At the beginning of the year, at the beginning of each year, the board, at our very first board member meeting, we approve where we are going to post meetings, how much time, the 24-hour notice, and time, location, et cetera. And I wasn't sure if this had any impact on that, in which we would be voting on in January at our first meeting.
It does not, but Ms. McManus?
No, it doesn't.
Okay.
There are some additional changes that we did review and would like to change in the bylaws, but we are going to do that in a separate action, just so that we're moving forward with just the changes in the meeting management changes for 2022. So I don't think that anything will happen with that particular subject in 2022, but it will be open for discussion for 2023.
Thank you so much. I appreciate that. And then the second question, one of the things that we had hoped to be able to resolve was around public comment. And I did see the change in the bylaws, but it says, I did see the change. It says that the board will put together a process in which folks can provide their public comment beforehand. Just to clarify, is that saying that's the only way that people will be able to participate in public comment, or will they be able to just like participate the same day?
Ms. Snyder, may I ask for you to respond to that, please?
Yes, thank you, Madam Chair. Melanie Snyder, General Counsel. So yes, Director Lewis, and I'm going to refer folks to packet page 135. That's the red line that talks about public comment being germane to the items before the committee. So my understanding is, yes, we will be able to allow the public to submit comments in advance of the meeting and also in person, like we
Got it.
normally do in board meetings.
I just wanted to clarify that. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Ms. McManus.
I would like to add on to that, that the board office is working with the IT department to get a specific email address so that at the start of the year, that will be socialized, hopefully in the agendas, so that we can get all of that information up front and have it compiled for public consumption as well as the board.
Thank you, Barbara.
Any other questions or discussion? Seeing none, I have Director Williams as the movant and Director Tisdale as the second. I'd like to go back again and take every board member though. Director Bouquet,
Yes.
Director Broom,
Yes.
Director Busick,
Aye.
Director Catlin,
Yes.
Director Cook,
Yes.
Director Davidson,
Yes.
Director Deschel,
Yes.
Director Geisinger,
Yes.
Director Lewis,
Yes.
Director Rosenthal,
Yes.
Director Sloan,
Yes.
Director Tisdale,
Yes.
Director Whitmore,
Yes.
Director Williams,
Yes.
and I am a yes. 15 yeses, it moves unanimously. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. Is there any other matters to come before the board this evening?
Madam Chair, wait, I can't get my hand up. Right?
Yes, Director Williams?
Yes, I'd like to thank you. I'd like to thank you for all of your service throughout the pandemic. I don't think there is anybody else on the planet that could have led us through the very, very difficult time that we have all been in personally and as a transit agency. And I want to recognize that this is your last official meeting. I mean, you might get reelected next year, you know, I don't know, but at the moment, this is officially your last meeting. So I just wanted to say thank you from me and hopefully from all of my constituents.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you. Thanks, everybody.
Yeah.
Director or Ms. McManus. Oh, you're muted.
So I spoke to Director Sloan earlier and she asked me to mention where we are with the redistricting. So I just want to let everybody know that we have a tentative schedule in place. The redistricting internal team reviewed it yesterday and we'll be bringing that forward. The public outreach piece of that will be bringing it forward to the full board as a recommended action in the January 4th meeting with all of the public outreach and public hearings shortly thereafter, with a final decision being made in March.
Thank you so much. All right. Our general manager, please.
Yes, thank you, Madam Chair, and good evening once again. Deborah Johnson, General Manager and CEO. Recognizing that this is the board's final scheduled meeting for 2021, I wanted to briefly share some timely information on 3 separate topics. First being strategies to improve conditions at Denver Union Station and the surrounding areas, the status of the efforts underway for the agency's internal audit function, and then the validation of baseline survey data for purposes of the 2021-2026 strategic plan. So regarding Denver Union Station, as you all are aware, following my November 29th, 2021 memorandum to all employees regarding the unwelcome activities at the Intermodal Hub, considerable media coverage has been focused on the agency's efforts to address the unwanted activities that have plagued Denver Union Station and its surrounding areas, including the use and sale of illicit drugs, as well as aggressive behaviors that have become commonplace in recent months. As stated in my November 29th memorandum, Visible Intermodal Prevention and Response, or VIPER teams consisting of 3 to 7 individuals from the Transportation Security Administration began on November 30th, patrolling Denver Union Station and the surrounding areas. The VIPER teams serve to augment the agency's sworn transit police officers and contracted security teams, who have also increased the size and frequency of their patrols in the area. Additionally, the Guardian Angels, a nonprofit organization, is assisting in these efforts as well. On a parallel track, I commissioned a third-party entity to conduct environmental testing in the bus concourse public restrooms on Tuesday, November 30th, and samples were taken on Wednesday, December 1st. Pursuant to the report provided to RTD on Friday, December 3rd, 2021, trace amounts of fentanyl were found on restroom surfaces. While trace amounts were found, the environmental tester confirmed that contamination was not at a dangerous level. Out of an abundance of caution, I closed the restrooms on Friday, December 3rd at approximately 6 p.m. and had third-party remediation crews perform comprehensive cleaning within the 2 restrooms and all 5 of the elevators on the evening of Friday, December 3rd into the early morning of December 4th. The restrooms will remain closed as earnest efforts are being made to return the facilities to a state of good repair, as well as to install permanent restroom doors. The public restrooms will remain closed for at least the remainder of the year until such time the doors can be installed and protocols and procedures can be put in place, such as a permanent restroom attendant in the form of a security guard. I met with Mayor Hancock's Chief of Staff on Friday, December 3rd, regarding the need for supplemental assistance at Denver Union Station. Through our discussions, I was assured that the Denver Police Department will increase the presence of DPD officers in the vicinity of Denver Union Station to augment the efforts of RTD's sworn police officers and contracted security personnel. On the afternoon of Saturday, December 4th, I spent some time in the bus concourse and engaged with bus operators, street supervisors, and our facility maintenance personnel working on the restrooms to assess the situation firsthand. I do walk through Union Station daily, so I have seen the immediate impacts of these strategies. Further on this topic, my team and I are assessing infrastructure enhancements to provide for our customer paid fare zone within the bus concourse area. Preliminary discussions are ensuing with varied audiences relative to innovative funding sources. Regarding the media attention on this matter, earlier this afternoon, I participated in 2 interviews, one with CBS 4 and 9 News regarding the agency's efforts at Denver Union Station. I welcome the community support garnered through these media engagements, as well as the words of encouragement from employees expressing their appreciation of the efforts the agency has undertaken to enhance safety and security in this critical transit hub. I'd like to transition quickly to the internal audit recommendations implementation. As you all know, the agency's efforts to identify best practices as established by the Institute of Internal Auditors to enhance the agency's internal audit function are nearing its completion. Reuben Brown, the auditing consultant hired to assist with these efforts, is in the process of preparing his final report, which I anticipate will be presented to the board in January 2022. On a related note, the agency has submitted draft materials to the Office of the State Auditor in response to the 2021 performance audit findings. The auditor's office will review the materials and possibly suggest revisions prior to the submission of the agency's final responses in January of 2022. The Legislative Audit Committee is scheduled to meet in February of 2022, at which time the committee will review RTD's responses. And lastly, I wanted to share that the process is currently underway for an external audit firm, which actually is Plant Moran, to validate customer and community survey data. As you may recall, I should qualify it as saying that we had TransPro through a third-party entity. They engaged to do baseline survey data, and we're looking to have Plant Moran validate said information as it relates to the statistical analysis for the findings we will receive, or I shouldn't say findings, I should say baseline. And should the audit firm conclude their review before year's end, I anticipate that the results will be available for the board's review during the special board meeting scheduled for January 4th in 2022. And with that, I thank you for the opportunity to address all of you. I would like to wish you all a safe and joyous remaining 2021 and prosperity into 2022 for all those virtually assembled and for all of RTD's customers and partners, as well as our employees in the community this agency serves. Thank you very much, Madam Chair.
Thank you, General Manager. Director Rosenblum. Rosenthal. I'm calling Rosenblum.
It's all right. Thank you, Madam Chair, and thank you very much, General Manager Johnson, for updating us on those three important issues. Relating to the Denver Union Station, I appreciate the quick and urgent action that you have undertaken to really engage on this issue. This is something that I've heard from a number of members of the public, and so I appreciate your actions and building that coalition of groups and agencies, both within RTD and within Denver, to engage on that. And so I guess I'd like to see over time some metrics on that, whether it's engaging in the community or what have you, to get more feedback as to are people feeling more comfortable, are complaints receding, things like that. And as you noted, and I've heard also from folks that I've heard from, that anecdotally as well, that there are some good results coming from some of these actions, which I do appreciate. I guess over time, I'd like to ensure and that we don't see a sort of a retrenchment on some of that engagement, that we still have the transit police, the contract security, the DPD, the guardian angels, that they continue heretofore to engage at Denver Union Station and any other areas where there's some security issues, so that we can ensure that the public knows that, like, hey, this is not just now. This is not just while the iron is hot and there's a news story or something, that we will continue to see this kind of engagement, so the public sort of re-engages in that area if they had any reluctance. Thank you.
Thank you.
Madam Chair, if I may.
Yes,
address,
please.
just as a point of clarity. So thank you very much, Director Rosenthal, for your comments, and I appreciate them wholeheartedly. In an effort to manage everyone's expectations, the Guardian Angels are a nonprofit entity that do this on a volunteer basis. Recognizing that we have engaged with them, it's hard for me to sit virtually before you and say, yes, that this will be something that's continuous, right? And as relates to Viper as well, recognizing that we worked in earnest to ensure that we could get them positioned here at Denver Union Station. We are in talks to continue this throughout 2022, but collectively recognizing that RTD provides transit service to the vast majority of the Denver metro area, it's going to take a vast partnership with other members. So while I'm committed to doing whatever it is within the power that I possess in being the general manager and CEO, a lot of these issues are societal issues that plague us collectively as a community. And in doing so, it will take enhanced efforts by all of us. It may require some legislative relief in certain avenues as well. So I did not want to walk away from this and misrepresent the position in which RTD has taken in earnest. So I just wanted to put that forward, and recognizing as well that we do have a strategic plan, and the purpose of having that strategic plan is so we can have a scorecard and there are metrics that are attributable to what it is that we're doing to bring forward outcomes as they relate to our 4 strategic priorities, which is community value, which is customer excellence that are paramount, but also employee ownership as well, because it's incumbent upon us to ensure that our employees have a safe environment in which they can work. And so as we go forward, we collectively, we being the executive team and members of RTD's workforce, are working in earnest to ensure that we have various key performance indicators that will align. And so there's already intersectionality in that relative to our tactics that we are leveraging with our board adopted strategic plan. So thank you, Madam Chair, for the opportunity to respond to Director Rosenthal. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Director Lewis.
If I may, sorry, Director Lewis, if I may just have one more question, I apologize.
Please.
All right, thank you. Sorry, I still have my hand up. Anyway, so in regards to that, thank you, General Manager, for that response. And as a follow-up to your remarks, so if the Guardian Angels, as you indicated, are volunteer organization, and I appreciate their efforts and support of RTD, as they potentially stand down or do other projects and may or may not have volunteers present, will there be community partners and RTD contract security and transit security transit police that will sort of step in to fill that gap? Or is this, do you anticipate that that we will see sort of let's just say a lower number of security who will be patrolling that area?
General Manager?
Madam Chair, if I may. So thank you very much for the question. The activities attributable to the Guardian Angels and the Vipers are supplemental security measures that I felt were important to put in place. Recognizing we have talked about the adverse impacts of the Great Resignation, people power is apparent, or the lack thereof, in all different industries. Denver Police Department are subjected to the same adverse impacts that we are collectively, as well as our third-party contractor as well. It's retaining people. And so as we go forward, yes, there is a laser focus on reference in reference to Denver Union Station. What we're trying to do is ensure that there's protocols in place to minimize the impact of said behavior or the unwanted behavior. So there is an approach that needs to be taken by collective partners. And as I indicated, there is that commitment there. And so recognizing that this is just one piece of it with the security presence, I can't speak to what will happen in the future, but we are committed to hiring and attracting personnel to provide that level of support. But as we go forward, who's to say if we're able to retain, because those are the pieces of the puzzle that has caused a greater plethora of the unwanted activity that we have seen. So hopefully that addresses your question. I will ensure that I keep the board engaged on this front, so you have an understanding of what's happening as relates to mitigation efforts in and around Denver Union Station, and I should say our entire transit network. Because what I will say in closing, Madam Chair, if you afford me just a couple more seconds, that we did pursue an app to peer review. We have a community blueprint that I am assessing, and I plan to share that information with you all at the beginning of next year as we discern what it is that we need to do. But the P3 that's apparent is our people power problem. So with that, I will ensure that you're kept apprised. Thank you.
Thank you, Madam GM.
Does that conclude your questions, Director Rosenthal?
Actually, if I can just ask one more, and I apologize to my fellow directors. I think this is germane, and it's kind of been ruminating in my head. The word that the general manager has been using is patrol. And what does patrol mean? And I know there's sort of the plain meaning of it, which means, we're going to have these teams, walking around. And so let's just say there is drug dealing. How is that interaction being handled? Is there sort of a sense of, the police, is it handled differently between the police or the transit police or the contractors? So patrol meaning like they just sort of stand there and say, hey, could you please stop? Or is there like, hey, we're going to give you a ticket unless you cease, or we will arrest you unless you cease, or you have to move along? Or what is the sort of gist of the interaction?
So, Madam Chair, if I may, so keeping in mind, Director Rosenthal, we have seen some of these unwanted activities exacerbated because there's the lack of people around. In certain instances, because businesses have shuttered due to the fact of the pandemic, there's not the large number of commuters converging upon Denver Union Station as before. To address your question about patrol, it's what the definition of the word is. People are walking around creating a presence. And so one thing's for certain, that RTD does have a sworn police force, which is post-certified, being peace officers, state trained by an entity that certifies them as being peace officers. So they have the authority within the state of Colorado to enforce laws. Secondly, as it relates to Denver Union Station, RTD's police officers, their sworn police personnel, do have limited authority within the auspices of the Denver Revised Municipal Code to write citations. Allied security is just that, security personnel. So we have a presence to deter unwanted behavior that's not becoming of that within a confined intermodal hub. So as we look at these holistically, we're leveraging different aspects to ensure that we can create an environment that's clean and safe. The Guardian Angels are a nonprofit, as I said. The Vipers are another entity under the auspices of Homeland Security. And so with these multiple forces, to create an atmosphere that will be a deterrent to say it's not okay to basically use illicit drugs in this space. So that is the notion behind these ancillary support efforts.
Thank you.
That concludes my questions. Thank you so much, Madam Chair and General Manager.
Director Lewis.
Thank you so much. General Manager Johnson, I appreciate your approach to this conversation, as I recognize that it's nuanced, and I've gotten a lot of interest from constituents within my district, and I recognize that as you've said, that we are going to require a vast number of partners and partnerships, as some of the things that we are dealing with are societal issues. And really, this is an opportunity for us to address the root causes, right, of those things, and how we might approach that work. And so I do appreciate that. And I know that you and your team have been doing a lot of work with partners like the Harm Reduction Center. And I think, those are fantastic partners as well, because the reality is that we aren't going to arrest our way out of this, right? And RTD as a transit agency can't do this alone. But I do have a few questions about the Vipers and the Guardian Angels. Do you know if those folks are, if either of the two groups are trained in trauma-informed responses, particularly for those that might be experiencing homelessness?
So good question, Director Lewis. I can't speak to whether or not they are trained, but that's why we also have our sworn police officers and we have our mental health clinicians. And that's why they're partnered. And when we're using this multifaceted approach, because not each entity can be well schooled in mitigating all these types of adverse situations that may bring themselves full circle.
Yeah. So in terms of engagement, what are the parameters, around that, their engagement? It's particularly, or it's specifically just to have more people essentially out to potentially deter that crime?
Exactly.
Yeah. Okay.
Exactly. It gets back to that whole broken window syndrome, right?
Yeah.
If you fix windows, people are less apt to break them. So recognizing that we have a higher level, higher presence of people in that space, I believe that can help be a deterrent to some of this unseated behavior that we have seen in and around that campus.
Thank you. And then my final question is, are with the Vipers and the Guardian Angels, are they also coordinating with folks like STAR or other outreach teams as well?
So speaking from the vantage point of Viper, when we engage with them, recognizing what their charter is and how they came to fruition, this is to supplement transit security holistically. When we engage with this initiative, recognizing that some of those auspices are outside of the realm of RTD, and let me qualify my response by saying this. We provide public transit, and public transit is interwoven in the community fabric of which we serve. And so if there's issues that are apparent within a jurisdiction or a municipality, they're going to roll over into public transit. And so in relationship to what our ultimate charter is, trying to make lives better through connections, that's exactly what we're doing. We're trying to liaise with all these other entities and engaging with the city and county and Denver and things of the like. We can lean into those discussions and be part of the meetings, but recognizing our core business is to deliver transit service, we need to ensure that we're creating an environment in which is safe and secure. So I'm delineating that in the sense that I did not put forward a recommendation or a request or eligibility criteria to say that we need this help if you can do X. It's more or less to create that presence to have a safe environment in and around Union Station.
Yeah, okay. I do appreciate it. And I hope and I know that we're going to talk more about safety and security as we move into the new year with the APTA peer review, et cetera, et cetera. And I hope that as we're looking at our partners, that we're looking at people who do have that background with the trauma informed responses and are able to better coordinate with folks like STAR, right, and a harm reduction center and other outreach partners, just because they have the expertise in that. And as you've said, our job is to provide transit service while also figuring out, like, how do we balance, right, folks who are actually committing crimes with those that are suffering from societal ills like poverty and homelessness, having mental health issues. And so I do appreciate your work, and I respect and see that it's a delicate balance. And so I appreciate that approach.
Thank you.
Mhm.
Thank you.
That's it.
Thank you, Director Lewis. Director Broom.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I wonder if the board could get a report on the guardian angels pertaining to what kind of training they receive, what kind of liability insurance that they have. I'm just concerned that somebody's civil rights are going to be trampled on, and we're going to get sued as the deep pockets in this situation. So, I'd like to tread lightly in this area, but I want some more information. Thank you.
Thank you. Director Davidson. Oh, wait a minute. Director Davidson, you went away. Director Cook.
Oh, I lowered my hand. Thank you. Questions have already been raised. Interesting.
All right.
And I see Director Davidson still has his up.
Okay, Director Davidson, please.
Yeah, thank you, Madam Chair. I just wanted to briefly comment on the audit activities, and thank you, Ms. Johnson, for providing the update. On Monday, the 29th, Ms. Johnson forwarded an email. We can see the communication to the Office of the State Auditor. I just wanted to mention for the board, I know we've seen the scope of work for Reuben Brown, but if you go to page 174 of that, you can review that and also get a look at some of the work coming together in terms of the audit universe on 178. And I think we're going to have a lot of work to do very quickly early in the year next year. It's taken some time, but I just would also like to thank Ms. Johnson, but also Mr. McLeod, and then for the tremendous support that others, including Mr. McKay on the call, have provided for this. Particularly Mr. McLeod has demonstrated some really excellent leadership, and really appreciate the help that he's provided to the board in terms of coordinating that communication with the Office of the State Auditor, as well as shepherding the project for Reuben Brown. And so certainly don't want to speak for the chair of our committee, Director Catlin, but very happy that how this has gone, and really appreciate the leadership in improving the function. We'll have our work cut out for us in a month or two here, I think, based on what's going to come in. But thank you very much. And since this is the last scheduled meeting of the year, it's been a pleasure getting to know you all on Hollywood Squares, and working with you all, and serving with you, and working with staff here as well. And just to remind everybody that in addition to enjoying the holidays, please make sure to take care of yourselves. So thank you very much. Appreciate it, Madam Chair.
Thank you. Director Rosenthal, you've had a couple of bites at the apple, so I'm going to go ahead and go with Director Catlin first. Director Catlin.
Thank you, Madam Chair. And Director Davidson, thank you for saying that so well. I too very much appreciated all of the activities of the staff, CEO Johnson, Doug McLeod, and John McKay, and others. This has really been a heavy lift, and it will continue to be for the agency. And I'm sorry I hadn't raised my hand earlier, but there's some background noise here that I'm trying to deal with. So I too have been very encouraged by our progress, but know that we have a lot of work to do the first part of the year. So thank you, Director Davidson.
All right, thank you. Director Rosenthal, quickly, please.
Thank you, I will. Just as a follow-up to Director Broom's comment about the guardian angels, and not to put General Counsel Snyder on the spot, and maybe she just wants to research this. Do we have liability for that if there is an event of some sort? Are folks able to sue RTD, or is that something where that falls to that organization and those individuals individually?
Yeah, Madam Chair, if I may.
Please.
So Director Rosenthal, I appreciate the question, and I would like to take the opportunity to just send an email to the board with that information.
Fair enough, and thank you.
You're welcome.
All right, thank you, everybody. Well, I am going to take this opportunity under other matters since it is my last official board chair meeting. I wrote down a few remarks. You know, I've had the most amazing 2 years of my life's journey serving as your chair of the RTD Board of Directors. It's a role that I took very seriously, and it's been one of the highest honors in my career. In these last 2 years, I've learned so much about this amazing agency that we've all had the privilege to work with on behalf of our community. As you all know, these were no way any kind of normal years. The COVID pandemic changed everything about our lives and how we operate. I want to acknowledge the sheer number of hours we have all spent in meetings, figuring out how to navigate Zoom, coming up with the ways to make conditions safer for our customers and the staff, the implementation of our strategic plan. I also want to acknowledge the fact that we hired the first female general manager and the first woman of color, which is a milestone in the history of our agency. Things haven't always been easy during my tenure, but the struggle has made the journey that much more impactful. And I am so grateful that I've had the privilege to collaborate with so many smart and dedicated people. I really want to take this opportunity to thank the board for their excellent work. So thanks to Vince Busick, Marjorie Sloan, Shelley Cook, Bob Broom, Kate Williams, Chantel Lewis, Bobby Deschelle, Paul Rosenthal, Julian Bouquet, Doug Tisdale, Eric Davidson, Troy Whitmore, Peggy Catlin, Lynn Geisinger. I also would like to say an extraordinary thank you to our board staff, Barbara, John, Ty Schray, Nikki, and Jillian. And I would be remiss if I didn't thank the foundation of the Sustainable Urban Communities with my CEO who supported me for the last 2 years to do this work, Tammy Holloway and Leslie Joseph. And last but not least, my team at Northeast Transportation Connections, who's kept moving everything forward. So thank you, Eric, Herbst, Jesse, Carly, Lacey, Nick, and Jacqueline. Without all of you, I would not be here right now. I would also like to thank the entire RTD staff, our general manager, Deborah Johnson. And I also would like this opportunity to thank our interim general manager, Paul Ballard. He and his team really helped me that first year. And our general counsel, Melanie Snyder. I want to thank my mentors for their constant support and inspiration. You know, there's a quote from Linda Hogan that gave me a lot of comfort during the difficult times. And it simply says, walking, I am listening to a deeper way. And suddenly, all of my ancestors are behind me. Be still, they say. Watch and listen. You are the result of the love of thousands. I'm not alone. Being on this board is not an easy job. There are so many viewpoints and opinions, but what we've learned together is that transportation is so important to the soul of this community. RTD's vision to be the trusted leader in mobility, delivering excellence and value to our customers and community. I think we've done that, and we will continue to do that, whatever may come our way in the future. Our mission statement, we make lives better through connections. As chair, I've had the privilege to connect with all of you and to have a front row seat for some truly extraordinary work. So I would just like to say thank you. Gracias para todo. Have a great holiday. It's been my true honor to serve as your chair. And with that, thank you. And with that, I'd like to make does anyone have a motion to adjourn?
So moved, Whitmore.
Second, Williams.
Is there anyone who wants to stay on? Seeing none, everybody have a wonderful, safe holiday. Take care.
Happy
Happy
holiday.
Thank you.
Thanks, everybody.
Bye.
Thanks, Angie.
Bye.
Thank you.